It'll never be the same because our brother's not here. DMX, you know, rest in peace. You know, we formed like a brotherhood. I didn't have to see him. I didn't have to call him. He didn't have to call me. When we saw each other though, it was that. Right there. It was that. It was beyond like.
Okay, I see what's really good. You're trying to eliminate the competition. You know, because at first you retire, you know, then get me off the label. Now you're back rapping again.
And they dropped the same day as Nas. After Nas have some type of glitch problem where
Nas is finally spilling the truth that's been whispered in the industry for years. JayZ and Beyonce aren't just competitive. They're straight up ruthless. Nas is now calling them out for going behind the scenes and making sure their peers don't win when they feel the slightest bit threatened. And that includes DMX. Everyone knew DMX and JayZ had beef, but what people didn't realize is that it was way messier behind closed doors. DMX even exposed how JayZ blocked his album from dropping just because Jay didn't want that heat of competing. By stalling DMX's project, Jay crushed X's momentum, knowing very well DMX was one of the few rappers who could outsell him back then. Fast forward a few years. Nas is saying JayZ and Beyonce played the same dirty game with him too.
On the same time, and then the time.
They said Stillmatic came out December 18th. They said Jay released Unplugged. Then they said Street Disciple November 30th. Then Collision Course. Nas's greatest hits, American Gangster. Nasir, Everything Is Love. The Lost Tapes, Beyonce, JayZ, Lion King.
And that's where it got stupid with the Lion King soundtrack. The Lion King soundtrack is
when Nas dropped his highly hyped album Nasir, produced by Kanye West, Jay and Bey allegedly made sure to mess with the timing to kill the buzz. This was supposed to be Nas' big comeback moment, but just one day after Nasir dropped, boom, JayZ and Beyonce popped out with a surprise album of their own. Everything Is Love landed out of nowhere, with a whole pre-recorded music video shot in Paris. Like, come on. Nobody accidentally drops a full visual album right after their oldest rival finally releases his first major project in years. Nas wasn't fooled for a second. This was no coincidence. And it's not just this one time. JayZ's been moving like this for years.
Cameron, 106 in Park. What was going through your mind in that interview?
Nobody told me he was coming. Pause. So when I'm sitting there thinking I'm getting my moment on 106 in Park, talking about my shit and how my shit is doing well, and he comes out the back, and I'm like, don't even f with me. It's like, what's going on? So I'm sitting there just trying to be as cool as I can because, you know, this is my time to be on 106 in Park and talk about my shit.
What makes it even crazier is Nas wasn't even looking for drama. He had already let all that beef go. But it looks like the Carters weren't done. Whether it's jealousy, insecurity, or just plain pettiness, Nas is now putting Jay on blast for always shutting down anyone he views as competition, all while hiding behind Beyonce's image and her massive fan base. DMX is back in the headlines lately, with fans bringing up how he was one of the rare rappers brave enough to call out JayZ straight up, while most others stayed quiet and too scared to ever speak on Jay or Beyonce. But here's where it gets crazy. After DMX sadly passed in April 2021, JayZ popped up on LeBron James's show and tried to rewrite history. Jay was saying DMX was just too competitive, but acted like it was all love between them. But fans weren't buying it. Here's what JayZ left out, straight from DMX himself. It was Jay who actually kicked off the competition back in 2004. That's when JayZ grabbed the president's seat at Def Jam after Lear Cohen left, and everything switched up quick. DMX had been the backbone of Def Jam, dropping 5 back-to-back #1 albums from 1998 to 2003, holding the label down.
But like you said, I don't even remember what you said, but obviously it turned into his album.
So we heard you're working on another album. Can you tell us about it? What's going on?
Blueprint 2, The Gift and the Curse.
On my time, and like I said, I didn't know he was there. If I knew he was there, then you know, we would have vibed it out, but it was more like a surprise. That's kind of probably what my face was. It wasn't more of disgust, it was more of a...
But when JayZ took over the top spot, DMX said everything changed. Jay started messing with the release of his 6th album, Year of the Dog. Again. According to DMX, it all came down to one reason. Jay had just come out of retirement and didn't want anybody getting in his way. That's when it finally clicked for DMX. Jay wasn't just competitive, he was insecure. X realized Jay would push anybody out of the picture just to make himself look bigger. That was DMX's breaking point. He knew it was time to walk away from Def Jam. And this wasn't just some random beef between DMX and JayZ. This was part of a bigger pattern that's been going on for years. Jay's insecurity had him using his industry power to quietly block anyone he felt threatened by. Just look at what happened with Beanie Sigel. Beanie Sigel even came out and revealed how JayZ used to drop his own albums right around the same time Beanie was putting out his projects, making sure Beanie's shine got totally blocked. And don't forget about Cam'ron. Remember that time JayZ crashed the 106 and Park Interview Cam had lined up? Jay just popped in unannounced and snatched the spotlight like it was nothing. They hit Cam with, "So we heard you're working on another album? Can you tell us?" And boom, Jay made it all about himself. JayZ never wanted anyone leveling up on him, but instead of battling it out bar for bar, he played sneaky and made sure nobody got too close to his spot at the top. And when it comes to shady moves, nobody knows it better than Nas. He's seen it all firsthand whenever Jay felt his crown was in danger. JayZ's been running the same playbook for years, dropping his own projects right when Nas is about to shine, like it's some kind of routine. When Nas dropped Stillmatic in December 2001, a huge comeback album, Jay came right behind him with his MTV Unplugged performance just a week later, stealing the spotlight. Then in 2004, Nas dropped Street's Disciple, and guess what? Jay linked up with Linkin Park and dropped Collision Course right on time. It didn't stop there. In 2007, Nas released Greatest Hits, and just days later, Jay popped out with American Gangster. Fast forward to 2018. Nas finally dropped his much-hyped Kanye-produced album, Nasir, and boom. Within 24 hours, JayZ and Beyonce hit the world with their surprise album, Everything Is Love, complete with that flashy apeshit music video filmed at the Louvre in Paris. And even more recently, when Nas dropped The Lost Tapes 2, days later, Jay and Beyonce were back again with The Lion King, The Gift. Every time one of these projects hits streaming platforms, it's way too perfect to be just random timing. And Nas knows it too. He's been saying it straight. JayZ doesn't move by accident. But there's another layer to this story. And it's all about how Nas called out JayZ for hiding behind Beyonce's image every time he pulls one of these slick moves. Nas never plays it safe. Like others in the industry, he speaks on the things everyone else avoids. One of the wildest moments came years ago when Nas went on Wendy Williams' radio show, and he didn't hold back. Nas wasn't just calling out JayZ's shady business tricks. He went all the way in, exposing how JayZ purposely kept quiet about R. Kelly. Even with all the disturbing rumors and accusations floating around, Nas flat out accused Jay of ignoring all the red flags, just looking the other way. JayZ didn't just stay silent. He went full business mode and cashed in on the Best of Both Worlds project with R. Kelly. But Nas didn't stop there. He also dropped hints that Jay's silence wasn't just about protecting a check. It might have been way deeper, like Jay had his own secrets he didn't want coming out. And instead of speaking up or facing the heat, JayZ made another slick move. He dodged the whole controversy tied to his connection with R. Kelly by throwing money behind the surviving R. Kelly documentary. The same one that helped put Kelly behind bars. Then just like that, Jay switched it all up, rebranding himself as Family Man Jay, the loving husband to Beyonce, proud father of 3, and poster boy for black capitalism. And it ain't just Nas calling this out, others in the industry see it too. Even 50 Cent's been calling JayZ out lately. He straight up said Jay hides behind Beyonce's public image, and even claimed their marriage looks more like a business deal than a real relationship. In another interview, 50 didn't hold back. He said a bunch of Jay's Grammy wins wouldn't have even happened if he wasn't tied to Beyonce. And it all circles back to DMX, because X was one of the first artists to see through Jay's playbook and call it out loud. Just like Nas, DMX kept it real and talked about how JayZ used his power at Def Jam, not to build others up, but to push potential threats to the side. Both DMX and Nas made it loud and clear. They weren't about to kiss the ring just because Jay had big industry ties. That's why there was always a strong mutual respect between them. Between Nas and DMX, they stood tall as two of the only ones bold enough to break the silence and call out JayZ's calculated moves. So when DMX passed, it hit Nas hard, not just because he lost a friend, but because he lost one of the few people in the game who really saw what was happening and had the guts to speak on it. DMX and Nas were more than just artists. They were truth tellers. They exposed all the behind-the-scenes tricks JayZ didn't want anyone talking about. From blocking albums to using Beyonce's image as a shield, the shady tactics run deep. But the real question is, how many fans actually catch on to this stuff? How much of this do people really see and understand? So tell me, what's your take on Jay's way of handling competition? Do you think Nas and DMX were right to call him out? Or is it just regular business in the music world? And how much do you think Beyonce's image plays into Jay's power, moves, and legacy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And make sure to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.